but when you're gone, how do they remember you? And if they can't remember you as a kind human, compassionate, caring, but also, um, I think having fun with the way you think is another way. But you also want your kids to do better than you,
Yeah.
and you want people around you to do better than you. And so I think that that's the personal side of it. But the um, innovation side of me wants me to be remembered as somebody who could probably use artificial intelligence as a tool to help millions of people,
Yeah.
not just one or two that I operate on every day. And that's just a privilege to operate on people. But I think that I felt restricted in just doing that. And, we're at the very high end of doing very complex sick patients with either robotics or artificial hearts. Uh, but, you're changing those one or two lives. And if you could change millions of lives, um, through the things that you do with people who are bigger than you, and you've created those connections, then you can move the needle just a little bit. And that kind of makes me feel proud that we could do something that way. So I hope that AI and healthcare really is a real thing and it takes off. And we do this diligently with appropriate ethics and make sure that we do it with good conscience because there's a lot of idiots out there, and there's a lot of like, I want this to be AI, I want that to be AI. They slap on this label, and they're just not, just fake. And it's just AI enablement does not mean real bona fide meat and potatoes
Yeah.
machine learning that you can change somebody's life with. It comes with a lot of responsibility, and you have to be accountable because then you're just wasting people's time and you're lying to yourself.
Well, speaking of that, there's obviously the concerns that go around of people worrying about, AI with the cars and the robots and everything of robots starting to believe that they're more valuable than humans and creating a war. Do you subscribe to that theory or what? Tell me your thoughts.
So I think that that's a lot of very cool hype to make a really good movie. Um, I think that that happened in the 1980s when Space Odyssey came out.
Terminator,
Um,
Skynet.
I love Terminator. I love Skynet. They're really cool movies. And so having that resonant belief that there will be something better should always be the case. I think that humans cannot lose control in the idea that singularity will happen
Yeah.
and machines will become super intelligent, superhuman. I think that some of them already are, and it's how we use them.
Yeah.
And so the problem will be us, not really the machine.
Mm.
And the thing I do or am concerned about is this black box idea, where you've got the chat GPTs of the world um, creating algorithms that are not just transparent. And I think that I think one has to be reserved, but also have kill switches. And we can kill that concept if we find that it's going rogue. And I think that the human will never be out of the loop and cannot be. To create an autonomous function or create code that it creates itself and itself creates itself can definitely mutate into something. But I don't think, and that may certainly happen, but I think it may be in a contained environment. But I think that we're very far off from that because the computing power doesn't exist for that, I think, to reach that kind of super intelligence on a mass scale. And so I loved Skynet, loved the new Mission Impossible. It was great, cool visuals, right?
Yes, that was a great movie.
Uh, yeah, there was. I thought you could feel the AI and the presence in
Yep,
your face and
yep.
taking over that darkness was portrayed really well. And I think that fear was built on, and I think that's what we are believing.
Mhm.
And I think that that is a really cool, like I said, a movie sketch. But I think that for us to reach that and affect our everyday lives,
Yeah.
um, whether it's with nuclear codes or with our lives of our patients, I think it has to be taken with the same gravity and seriousness because that's what we're left with. And if we sacrifice our humanity for that, then I think we're fools.
Mm.
And I think that it will be our problem, and it's because of us. So I think greed and darkness exists. There will be bad players out there who try to manipulate it, for sure.
Well, that's what I was gonna
For
ask you. Did you ever have like a, somebody who's got like billions and billions of dollars who's like, I want to live forever, you know, take my heart or, my mind didn't put it into a robot.
uh, I
So
think that that consciousness. I mean, the really cool idea of avatars exists,
yeah.
where you like. I would love to hear my dad talking to me, right? And I would love to hear what my dad would give me advice because he died too young,
Mhm.
and just to have a conversation with him would be nice. But I think that that kind of destroys the essence of who we are as human beings, and
I
I
agree.
think that you're going to take away that human factor which makes us who we are.
Yep.
And so I think if you've got people who are in that kind of a position, that's cool. We can use um, machine learning and AI to do good.
Hmm.
Uh, there's a lot of bad going on in this world, and I'm working with part of an organization that was just nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. It's called uh, Doctors Against Forced Organ Harvesting, and I'm the
Mm.
AI strategist. And what we see is people taking advantage of a lot of um, migrants, and it's becoming a border issue, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
no, I was actually hearing about that.
so how can AI help us reduce human trafficking, and how do we prevent that from coming across the border? Well, we're working with some senators as well as some scientists, and we're coming up with algorithms that basically say, well, what's the darkest form? And the darkest form, being a transplant surgeon, is organs being harvested
Mm.
and sold on the black market.
So are these people
F-
who are just being killed that are coming across the border by people to harvest their organs?
there's an amazing, amazing, amazing. Uh, by the way, this is a cool podcast. I'm enjoying it. There's an amazing lady. She is called Mariana Ronzella.
Hmm.
She's a National Geographic reporter, and I have to tell you, one of the bravest ladies I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And she has this documentary out on Hulu, but it's also out on YouTube, and it's called uh, um, Hackers. And she goes down to the jungles of South America and Colombia and follows this trail of people going to Panama to who are migrants leaving and innocently are so tired at a border like Mexicali and are offered a drink, then go to sleep and are drugged, and then they're left with one kidney.
Yeah.
And they wake up with a scar and they think, shit, my organ's gone. And, you know, the craziness and the darkness of that. I mean, I don't know if you see the song, the movie Sound of Freedom.
No, I know it, but I haven't watched it yet, and I
Just be
don't know if
prepared to
it's
watch
one
it,
of those
right? Yeah, you
because
got to
like
be prepared.
I avoided The Passion for the longest time, because I'm a very emotional person. Like for example, one of my favorite athletes is Tim Tebow, and he just went to in front of senators a month or two ago. And he published this video of him because that's something that he focuses on is girls who are, or I guess guys and girls who are sex trafficked. And he just shared this story of this, 9-year-old girl, and man, it just makes me like tear up. It throws you out the loop for the day. It's terrible because it's hard to decide whether you want to pay attention to evil in the world, because there's always going to be evil in the world, unfortunately, or like enjoy your day and focus on it. It's a
Yeah.
tough,
So
tough
how
battle.
about, just like we use AI to actually um, predict what happens and track on the dark web,
Yeah.
which is what we're doing,
Mm.
and on social media to track people who are doing that in very dark ways, and to actually then um, outsmart them using artificial intelligence. And I think we can do that. And I think we're already beginning to. And I think we can make a difference, which is one of the
Well,
reasons I'm banned from China.
that's what I was about to bring up, because that's the hard part is, from what we've seen, recently, is there's a lot of wealthy people who are behind a lot of this stuff. So it's great that you can do that, and I know there's a lot of people fighting against it. And that feels like that is one thing that everybody on this earth agrees upon, is children are off limits. People just being
Yeah,
such traffickers.
that's
Um,
$150 billion business.
yeah,
And it's sickening. And guess where the biggest culprits are? Right here
yeah,
in America.
yeah.
So
So you have to cut the head off the snake, and then you have to, but to do that, you have to determine who is the head of the snake. Yeah, I don't know. That's deep.
yeah, but it's sick, and it's to the point where imagine if that was your kid, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you and Emily have kids yet?
No, not yet. We're
Yeah.
getting married January 25, and we plan on having kids a couple years out.
Cool. How many kids?
At least four. Emily's saying four right now is how many she wants. So at least two, no more than four, probably.
That's going to be cool.
That's
Yeah.
that's one thing that we agreed upon. Big reason why I'm marrying her is she wants to be a mother, and we both are really big on family. And I work with my family every day, and I couldn't imagine life any other way. So yeah, that's why we're getting married, is because we both want a family.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I'm sure it'll be a beautiful family. And
Thank you, thank you.
and having those fundamental um, beliefs is important, and knowing that's what I love about America, right? Is that when I came, it was always I came on July the 4th, 2003,
Mm.
um, to the Mayo Clinic, and I was in the middle of Minnesota, and immediately they all invited me to their July the 4th parties.
Was
And
Minnesota the first part of the United States you saw?
believe it or not, yes,
Okay, okay.
that's kind of why I kind of they kind of soft touch over there, and very very humble people.
Mm.
And then I came to Boston, and there was Thanksgiving, which is probably the best holiday in the
Yeah.
US, which is not commercially driven, and it's very driven by human beings and the ability to say thank you
Yeah.
for and being grateful. And that for me was the best time of my life, and that's when I met my wife
Mm.
at a conference in San Diego. Yeah, I
So
stalked her,
she's American?
and no, she's French.
Oh, she's French. Okay.
Yeah.
I did see that you speak French fluently. What was the first conversation like?
It wasn't in French, that's for sure. It was in English, and I was just besotted by how beautiful she was, but also about how kind she was. And
What was the first
um,
line to her, Dr. Khalpey? I got to know if you got Riz. Do you know
well, I
what
was.
do you know what Riz means?
Well, I'm learning the language. No, and I'm busting it. So I think She, I remember she was giving a lecture, and I asked her. I was just listening to her, but I couldn't really understand it because I was besotted by what she was saying and how she was saying it. So I just decided that it would be really cool for me to um, ask a silly question. So I can't remember what it
Mm.
was, but I know I sounded stupid. So she probably just swatted me aside and just ignored me until I followed her. So it was good.
Well, do you remember your first date with her?
Yes, it was at Thanksgiving,
Oh,
and uh, it was amazing. She was an amazing French cook,
so were
and
you with her family at all, or just the two?
no, it was just the two of us.
The two of
Yeah,
us? Oh, wow. Okay.
my family was in London, her
Mhm.
family was in France, and
Mm,
so it was soon after that that I proposed in New York.
mm.
Um, when we met for 2 days, and we were both flying off. She was flying to France, I was flying to London, and I said, "Why don't we just stop off in New York?" And that's when I proposed.
That's beautiful. So tell me, what's the secret to a happy marriage?
It changes. uh, um, the secret is that I think I think it's about Riz, and it's about being um, being respectful, but also being a very good um, listener. And I think it's not about you; it's about the other person. And I think if you can respect them for who they are, how they're changing, what their needs are, what their wants are, and always feel that their day is worse than yours. When you're listening to that compassionately, and I mean really listening, not
Yeah.
just like, yeah, what was
Yeah,
that?
because there's
Uh,
times where I'm guilty of looking at my phone or something, and she's like, "You're not actually listening to me."
yeah, and one thing is I never answer my phone when we're having dinner
Yeah.
unless I'm on call,
Yep.
and so I think that infuriates the family. It sets a bad tone, and I think I get street cred for that with my family. Um, but after that, it's being respectful to my wife, and I think I learned that very early on. But also, it's how your parents are that you learn things subconsciously about how to respect other people.
Yeah.
And when my mom and dad said, we know those kids are X, Y, and Z's parents. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But now you realize when you meet kids from other families that you're a reflection of your parents.
Yep.
And I was like, sure, sure. But it's actually true.
Mhm.
And uh, I take that to heart because sometimes if you don't have good upbringing and you are a bit of an asshole because of whatever circumstances have formed you in that way. It's always time to change, but at the same time, you're a reflection of that circumstance. And I think that sometimes it's best to understand that it's not always your fault,
Yeah.
and and you can always change it.
But that was the hard part for me in my 20s is because, my parents, I grew up, they're married, they have two kids and we do everything together. So I just thought that's how life was. So I thought, oh, well, I'll find somebody in my early 20s and get married and have kids. I'll be a young dad and whatever else. And then next thing you know, I'm like 25, 26, single. And I was like, screw it. I'm gonna be a hoe. And that's what I did. And after many years of that, I got some confidence though doing that, which is what I needed. And then finally found the right person for me and wouldn't change it for the world. That's a big reason with her too, is her family. Like every time we go down there in South Florida, which we're actually going there this weekend, just a lot of family stuff going on. Her parents call her all the time, and her grandparents always have us over for dinner. So I really liked that with her family. It was really family oriented. And I wanted to provide that same lifestyle to my kids that I had growing up because I felt like it turned out pretty well for me. So I'm going to provide that same thing for them.
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited when I spoke to you because you were a family guy and you immediately resonated with me. And I think that was an immediate connection, which I felt was really kind. And, it's amazing that you can have people from different sides of the world doing different things completely and having a connection. So just like this. So, it was really amazing to share this moment with you and this
Absolutely.
time. Yeah.
Yes, I really love talking to you, and hopefully we can do it again soon. But certainly love getting to know you, and I'm very excited for the future.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. And honestly, it's been really fun talking to you, and I've enjoyed it, and really don't care what anyone else thinks, but I've really had a good time.
Absolutely. Well, I know a lot of people are excited to watch this. Got a lot of texts. Hey, what time? What day are you going to release this? We're super excited. So hopefully other people enjoy it too. But I very much enjoyed it, and
Yeah, I hope I didn't disappoint. I hope
nah,
Emily thought it was great, and I really hope you two. You guys are a real showpiece, honestly.
uh,
It's been wonderful to see you guys and really change a different part of the world. So it's
thank
really
you.
nice to see that.
It's very interesting getting to know everything that you're doing too. And like I said, you have me very intrigued into the medical field, which is something I never in a million years thought that I would ever be interested in. So now I'm over here learning about hearts and robotic surgeries and artificial hearts and monoclonal antibodies and all this cool stuff that I could do to try myself live longer and healthier.
I think so. I think we will, and I hope I can be part of that path with you. And I think it'll change. But it's also great to see that you have such an interest, but also can um, change people's minds, at least to educate them
Yep.
into, what's truly happening in this world, and can we really touch the different parts of the world and bring
Yeah.
it together and kind of cross pollinate to try to make something understandable,
Yep.
which I hope we have.
Yeah, which is why I want to do this with you. And it's one thing I told, Dr. Chandra is because, I'm learning about everything that he's working on and I try and talk about that with people in my day-to-day life and they have like no idea that any of this stuff is even going on and what treatments are available to them. So I think education is it's power, knowledge is power. So hopefully we can provide that to some people who watch this.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Khalpey. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night. Bye bye.